All right, Coach Knighton. What have you seen from the D line in general this, preseason process? And I guess what has stood out the most to you, and what's impressed you most, I guess, about this group?
I think right now what stands out for me is the versatility of the group. In my previous school, we had run stoppers, we had guys that can just pass rush. Here we got a lot of versatility, a lot of young guys. And I think what's going to help us this year is that, with the way Tony calls the defense, guys can use their athleticism and their natural instincts to play ball. And I think guys will enjoy the defense. But overall as a group, obviously, I feel like we have the best defensive tackle in the country with D-Jack, and then, guys are just following his lead. He's doing a great job this offseason, and like I said, with the edge guys that we brought in and the depth that we have at D-Tackle, we're going to surprise a lot of people how well we play on the
Nice, yeah. Talking about the versatility you have, do you think that's especially valuable in this kind of scheme? That's, multiple fronts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like how basketball is right now, where it's positionless. You know what I mean? And Tony is just trying to find ways to get the best guys on the field, and he'll make it work. So right now, like with Amari, moving over the defense, and trying to get him over there full time, and the transfers we brought in, and the young guys that redshirted, now the freshmen. We just have so much talent that we're able to utilize up front, and that'll make us hard to block because everyone plays different.
Yeah, what have you seen from Amari, and what kind of role can he play? Do you think this upcoming year, and what kind of player can he grow into? What kind of roles can he be utilized?
I think the challenge for him is to accept that he can be an every down player. Obviously with his skill set, he'll have the ability to rush on third down. I want him to develop into a defensive end, a true defensive end. So he'll do a lot of different things for us, and obviously he'll help on both sides of the ball. And it's always good to have guys that that can help on both sides of the ball. They're unicorns, but I'm excited to work with him, and he's been working hard, so I'm excited.
A true defensive end, like someone who could play the 5 every.
Yeah, he can play
down.
the run. He can play the rush the passer. He can drop in the coverage. He'll be able to do a lot for us on defense, and he's a guy who lives in the film room. He works really hard, so it all comes natural to him. So putting the natural ability with the mind, the sky's the limit for him.
Sounds like you're kind of describing, in his strengths, like what you'd look for in a Jack. Is that where you see him, and what kind of role does that position have in this defense?
Yeah, I think we're starting to evolve a little bit more with instead of having a true Jack, just having guys that can do everything. And it's more of at times it can be more of a linebacker, more times it can be more of a DN. So you try to find, certain guys, like whether it's recruiting in the portal, that have shown the ability to do both, and it allows us to, hide what we do at times and be multiple in defense.
Absolutely, yeah. Talking about some of the new guys coming in, or new to FSU fans, like Deontay McCray, someone we've heard about. What have you seen from him? What kind of impact?
He's very smart. Picked up the playbook really fast. Has a very high standard for himself. And he's one of those guys that I talked about that are versatile. Like he can line up at D tackle, he can line up at DN, and I'm excited about it. He's one of the guys that came in right away and has asserted himself as a leader, so that's helped a lot.
What other leaders have you seen kind of emerge in that room?
Well, everybody's leading their own ways. You know what I mean? Like freshmen, they come in and their personality sometimes can spark the room. D-Jack's more of a, lead by example type of guy, trying to push him to be more vocal, just really not who he is. You know what I mean? So you got James who's known me the longest, so he knows what I expect, so he's been more vocal because I've coached the hell out of him so hard that he can pretty much finish my sentence. So, me and him have a special bond, and like I said, Deontay and Jenkins and Tay Diggs, like all these guys that came in have asserted themselves right away as leaders, and those are the type of guys that we were looking for, in the portal.
Yeah, and about James Williams, I saw you added some weight, this offseason so far. What's kind of the next step for him in becoming like a more complete player, and where do you think his ceiling kind of ultimately is, and the impact he can have this season?
Well, I think for him it's just the same things that Amari's going to go through, as far as, okay, I know I can rush the passer, and I have to build confidence in the run game, but with James putting on 20 pounds, that'll definitely give you more confidence. So he's a lot stronger. His body looks different. He's doing a great job with our nutritionist, Ms. Jaden, and hats off to him and Coach Storm. Hats off to her and Coach Storm in the weight room. They're doing a great job, and it's going to make my job a lot easier because he's already tough. So now that he has the strength and the size to go along with it, he's gonna be a really good player for us.
Nice. Demonte Diggs, you mentioned. What have you seen from him as another newcomer?
Explosive, moves well, very smart. Watched him on tape in the portal, and he played with a brace the whole year on his hand, like a big club, and immediately I knew he was a tough guy. So, he's lined up at edge, he's lined up at tackle, he's lined up at nose, he's lined up everywhere, at his previous school. So, like I said, those type of guys we want, and he's a guy that's going to be a high impact player for us right away.
Tony White's defense, it seemed like really kind of evolved over time, going from, I guess we could start with like Syracuse, where it was more like a strict 3-3, and then to Nebraska, it was a lot more 4 down, and now it's kind of, who knows, like what do you expect as far as what, obviously a very multiple front.
Well, Tony's like a mad scientist, so it's like, depending on the personnel we have and the type of guys we have, allows him to do different things. He was at Syracuse, it's a different type of player than it was in Nebraska. Now going from Nebraska to here, it's a different type of caliber of athlete. So it's just a little different, but he puts it all together, and I add my 2 cents a little bit here and there. I try not to do too much, but I think the way his mind works, he just have 11 athletes out there flying around.
Definitely. How much more versatile, if that's a big goal of this defense, how much more versatile can it be with a higher ceiling or higher caliber of athlete, like at all positions, and kind of seeking that sort of positionless thing that you're talking about?
I think when speaking outside of the front, you have dynamic DBs like we have here that can blitz, that can cover, that don't mind being on the island, that love to tackle. That's what Tony loves. He won't tell you it, but he's a DB guy at heart. He doesn't really care what we do up front as a D-line until something happens bad. But when you have when you have guys in the back end that can just be out there on the island by themselves, it's hard to play against this defense.
I'm not sure if I dare them ask you, but Daryl being back, I know you called that a huge win earlier this year, but how has he approached tour duty? How has he approached everything? Everyone has been saying by all accounts he's been a great leader and resource. What have you seen from him?
He's been great. He's in great shape. Body looks good. One of the few guys on the team that earned a turquoise jersey during tour duty. Push him to be more vocal. He has all the tools, to be a dominant player. I think, me personally, I feel like he's the best defensive tackle in the country. So it was obviously great to have him back, and it's a blessing because he trusts me, and that's what it was initially. Him trusting to come back, knowing he could have came out this year and been a second-round draft pick, but just trusting that there's a lot of things that he can still improve his game, and Coach Odell's done a great job with him, and I'm just going to take his tools and sharpen them. And with this defense, he's going to make a lot of plays. He can show his versatility. He'll be able to line up anywhere, but he'll prove that he's one of the best players in the country.
What are some of those areas where he's looking to improve?
Just being dominant, down in, down out. Being out consistently effective on third down. Making more plays in the backfield on rundowns, and I think just his preparation and his pre-snap awareness, because a lot of guys, NFL players, great players, they make the play before the play even happens because of their preparation and their mindset. So just teaching him how to be more of a student of the game, tuning his mind, and just this is probably going to be his toughest spring because I'm not gonna let up on him on every single play, every single detail. So I'm expecting him to make every play. That's going to be the mindset. That's going to be the challenge for DJ.
You mentioned his versatility being the strength, obviously, but him kind of basing out around the nose. Do you think that kind of especially complements his skill set, especially because he was good there?
And I think for as big as he is, people don't give him credit for how good of an athlete he is, and that's what this defense will show. When we're doing our movements, when we're working our stunts, all those type of things, you'll see the versatility, and ultimately that's going to help his draft profile because he'll be able to line up anywhere. He'll be able to show that in this defense.
James, how close is he, do you think, to unlocking, becoming what he possibly could be as an every down kind of lineman, or do you want to keep him in the role that you used to be?
He's there. He's there. He's put on 20 pounds. He looks great. He's 265, and when we were at our previous school, I had to fight with him every day to be 250. So now he wakes up 265. His mind is right. He loves Coach Norvell. He's enjoying the team. It's just a positive environment, and that's what he needed. And obviously, me and him have a special bond. He's had his challenges in his personal life, so it was a certain surrounding that he needed to be successful, and it's the perfect place for him. But James is an every down player, and if he goes out and have the year I expect him to have, then he won't be here longer than a year.
I guess kind of dumb question. Like, how does 260? Like, what does 265 look like for him? Like, what is it going to allow him to be and do? I guess this time.
It's going to allow him to be a base down player. When you're doing movements and things like that, you can use your athleticism, but just taking on double teams, being straining through blocks, all those type of things. And now he has the confidence to do it. So when he steps on the scale and sees 265, now he thinks he's this big, strong man. So that's half the battle. So it's going to be great. And like I said, James is one of those guys, man. If he goes out and have the year I think he can have, then he'll be playing on Sundays with D-Jack next year.
How's McCray look?
He looks great. He looks great. His body looks great. You can tell he's a true professional. How he prepares, how he takes care of his body. He asks a lot of questions in the meeting room. And how quick he picked up the playbook put a lot of pressure on other guys to be more prepared. So, his leadership is shown in all different type of places. And, the D-line room always has big personalities. And, I got my hands full with the group I got, but I'm probably the biggest personality in there, so I don't mind. And, as a position coach, you want your players to take on your DNA. So we're going to be a tough group. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a great time, but, I'm not going to take any crap or, allow any softness in that room. So we're looking forward to handling business.
DB coaches, if you ask them if this guy's a good cover corner, they're like, well, he needs to tackle well too. For your guys up front, do they fall in the category of like edge setter, pass rusher, or do you have to be able to do both?
Well, for one, if our DBs have a lot of tackles, then they're going to hear about it from me. The D-line will hear about it from me. But like I said, for us, it's just about, and this defense for us is creating negative plays and getting, hitting the quarterback and getting off the field on third down. And, a lot of the things that we do up front with our movements and our stunts, it's for us to create plays in the backfield. And, on third down, you want the D coordinator to be comfortable to, go out there and call a man and let the D-line rush or call base coverages, because when he starts blitzing safeties, that's kind of a shot at the D-line. So if we could just go out there and rush 4 and rush 5 and do what I think we're capable of, then, it makes everybody's job easy.
Do you think a goal with James is weight gain? Just like, do you think the idea behind that is largely to where he can be a 3-down D lineman too? That's not something he did much in Nebraska.
The thing was with James was the maturation for him was not taking him off the field. Like if we're playing like a Boston College or a team that likes to run the ball, Last year when we played Iowa, James didn't play unless it was third down. Right? When we played Rutgers, he didn't play unless it was third down. But now he's like, you know what, Coach, I want to be an every down player. And he's really put his mind to that. And like I said, he has great support around him here. And it's allowed him to be the guy that he wants to be. And with guys like that, our relationship is very special. With guys like that, he just needed people to push him and to love on him and show him the right way. And that's pretty much he's pretty much my son. So he knows what he has to do.
With the jack position, do you think? So with the team, the way it's constructed, or if you want to drop 8 or something like that, and you want a more like coverage type jack or something, are there certain names that you have in the backer room that would kind of fill that role more than others?
The good thing about our group is, there's a few guys that have done it before. Like, Tay Diggs can do it, James can do it, Amari can do it, but you got guys like Elijah Herring who can rush the passer, he can drop in the coverage. Steph Thompson can do it, Juice can do it. So it's a lot of different guys, and once we start to get into the real football and start preparing for opponents, like guys are going to understand that they want to be a part of that rush group. They want to be that jack position. So, I think once guys really get a good feel for it, the competitiveness of the group will, push our defense to where it's supposed to be.
How's KJ and Daniel Lyons kind of look to you through offseason?
Those are two guys that I've probably challenged the most to show that they're dominant players. They have the ability to do it. Probably our most explosive guys inside, D-tackle wise. KJ has, he has NFL ability. With KJ right now, you just have to have the confidence to do it. Dan has been up and down. Played great his freshman year, has some ups and downs. Trying to figure out his body weight, what type of player he is, but this has been his best offseason. He's 300 pounds right now, but he looks like he's 250. He runs well, he's athletic, so I'll challenge those guys to take it to the next level. And just like D-Jack, those are probably two guys that, if you're at practice, I know you guys can't be at practice, but if you're at practice, you probably, you'll have to bleep it out a lot because I'm going to be getting after those two, for sure.
What do you see Diggs' role for you guys?
Like I mentioned before, it's just positionless basketball. Like you can just put guys anywhere and they make it happen. And if I tell Tony hey, Diggs is in that D tackle right now, he's gonna call a call, so Diggs doesn't have to stand there and take on 3 blocks. You know what I mean? So, you just always trying to get the best guys out there for the best situations. And like Amari Butler, a guy that I coach, that's at LSU now. He was in there sometimes at 3 technique at 250. But he was a tough guy and he was rugged. So when you have guys like Diggs that are like that are tough and rugged, you never worried about him or who's out there. So he's done a great job.
Are there any freshmen that have been standing out to you?
I would not give any kudos to any freshmen.
After they practice?
No, never. Not until they make a play, because our freshmen, listen, just know I can't give them any. I can't give them anything right now. Nothing. But I'm happy they're showing up every day. They're on time. They're doing what they got to do. They're a good-looking group. They work really hard, but that's about it. That's all I'll give you. They're doing the bare minimum. We just need them to be on time, show up to class, and do what they're supposed to do. But freshmen, we treat them like NFL rookies. They don't get a compliment until they make a play.
What about a JUCO guy like Tyler Cole?
Same thing. JUCO, he got his years back, so he's a freshman. I love that case, by the way.
Oh, really? That's right. You're from Connecticut.
Yeah, let's go back to back.
We've heard a little from James. I think we saw a video of James after a game last year at Nebraska talk about his relationship with you. I guess, what is your perspective on what that, and how much excited are you to get to keep coaching him even at a new school?
That was the Rutgers game, and that last possession of the game, he literally had a sack every play. And it was just a lot of emotions because just what he went through, in his personal life, how much I've been involved in it, how much he's won at that moment. And it was happy tears. And I was just so happy for him. Even when he came here, it was his first time on scholarship. And when I called him, I was like, hey, come to Florida State. Like, we were on the phone in tears because he comes from nothing. His family, parted ways with him in the middle of college. So he was just, he didn't have family, he didn't have that, and our relationship became really close, and that's what college football is about. That's what it's about as a coach, and I'm excited about it, and he knows that now that we're family, I can coach him a little bit harder now. So like I said, I'm excited about James, and he's a guy that he still has a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to prove that he's the best edge rusher in the country, and he's working towards it.
Do you feel like with all of those challenges that he's overcame, and you mentioned you guys are crying on the phone with the scholarship, is it almost a freeing feeling for him to allow him to pursue that, like you said, kind of like, I want to show him the best edge rusher in the country, I've taken the steps, now all I got to do is do it. Do you feel like he has that mentality right now?
Right now, yes, but when everything happened in his life personal wise, he didn't know how to respond to it. So when you talk to James, and he always says, I was broken, I didn't know what to do, he was lost. He was showing up late to things, and I just stuck with him, and we developed a real bond, like a real father-son bond. And, to this day, man, we just have a special relationship, and he'll never be able to get rid of me. So we're locked in, and You know, he calls my fiance mom, he calls me dad, so it's you know, he has a special place in my heart, always will. So I'm happy for him, and he's happy, he's smiling all the time. And you know, the past 2 years before this, he was always moping and had his headphones on, but you know, he's doing a great job leading the freshmen. And like I said, he could finish my sentences when I talk and when I'm coaching. So the guys, you know, they usually gravitate towards guys like, hey, what does Coach Knight want from this or this? So you know, he's an extension of me.
We talked to you, I think, right after Daryl announced he was coming back, and you talked about that maybe being the biggest transfer portal pickup of all or something
For
like
sure.
that.